Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of the sun, but Mama, that's where the fun is. Hey guys, it's Mr. Jeff. We're back with another mushroom chemistry video on the side of my truck, and that sun is super bright, so I'm probably going to jump behind the camera. We'll look at the truck and let's get started. So, shoot, if you already been on my Instagram, you probably saw this picture already posted, but that is William Padilla Brown. He's the guy that wrote the book on Cordyceps cultivation. I have him drawn on the side of my truck holding a cluster of Cordyceps militaris. As you can see, those club-like little mushrooms sprouting off a little fruiting block he's holding there in the picture. But Cordyceps militaris, you probably know it more familiarly as the zombie fungus, or one of the many zombie fungus, because as a matter of fact, even the Cordyceps militaris is now, my understanding is it's a complex of different species even, and we're still learning and discovering more about the mushroom and its role in nature. But today we're going to talk about a compound found in this mushroom and its role in our bodies when we consume it. So let's get started here. I've got, you know how I like to draw these molecules. I've got the adenosine molecule up here, and right next to it I have a molecule that dang near looks like the spitting image of it. It's only missing one little thing, and that's cordycepin, and it's lacking this little hydroxyl group that adenosine has over here, hence the name 3-deoxyadenosine, for little, also known as. But what we're going to get into here is how both adenosine and cordycepin affect this AMPK pathway. What is AMPK? It's the AMP activated protein kinase. What is AMP, right? That's the next question. AMP is adenosine monophosphate. It's when this is phosphorylated, it now has the ability to be used by our cells intercellularly for energy. In addition, this can not only be monophosphorylated, but it can also be diphosphorylated or triphosphorylated. Hence, you've heard of maybe ATP, adenosine triphosphate, or ADP, adenosine diphosphate, once it loses one of its phosphates. But that's all part of cellular metabolism. That's where we get our energy from for our cells. And it's constantly being recycled, converting from ATP back to ADP, AMP back to ADP, and so on. So with these phosphate groups being pulled off and being reattached, energy is produced. And that's kind of the beginnings of how we get to using cordycepin and cordyceps mushroom as a performance enhancer, we'll say, as an energy booster. Because what they're discovering is that cordycepin in its phosphorylated forms mimics its adenosine counterpart in this pathway. In the AMPK pathway, cordycepin monophosphate can be substituted in place of adenosine monophosphate and do the exact same processes. I find that amazing. The processes that these do, consider AMPK like a sensor and a regulator within your cell. So your cells have to have perfect conditions, whether it's acidity levels, temperature levels. You also need correct amounts of certain molecules in the cells, so all these processes can take place. And when some of these things get adjusted or tweaked to a point where it's not suitable, AMPK will start a cascade of processes where it may break down certain molecules or build up other molecules to create new proteins to keep the cell going when the conditions aren't right, when you're under stress. Whether that's, like I said, I mentioned like low oxygen levels would be a stressor, hypoxia, low sugar levels, that would be another stressor, for example. But with these stressors comes the activation of this AMPK pathway. And that's a beautiful thing. We need that, or our cells would die. We'd be too fragile. So how does that play into cordycepin being medicine, we'll say. And you know, I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice, so I don't even like to use the word medicine here so much. Is just saying that all I'm doing is just showing you that this is able to do what this does in the cell. And when we don't have, um, when we're depleted, we'll say, this can actually cover for it. So you've got the ability to enhance the performance of our cell's metabolism through this pathway here. But in addition, this pathway is crucial when it comes to your metabolism. So it's going to affect things like metabolic disorders. Hence having the ability, both these having the ability to be anti-diabetic. In addition, anti-tumoral. How do we get a cancer connection to something that's dealing with energy levels? Well, I think I mentioned this in the last chemistry video we did here. We talked about, shoot, I don't even remember what we were talking about per se, but I discussed cancers generally have an overcharged metabolism. And if you can disrupt metabolic pathways within cancers, you can ultimately affect the cancer negatively while doing minimal, or keeping the risk on the healthy cells to a minimum. That's not to say that there isn't harmful side effects, but if it comes down to dying from the cancer, or going through some chemotherapy, getting sick, but coming out the other end cancer free, you know, many opt for that route. And I'm not judging here. I know I've got a lot of viewers who are into natural health, natural medicines, and the thought of chemotherapy frightens them. They wouldn't want to participate in such. And that's the beauty of this. A lot of the pharmaceuticals and the medicines out there that are being used conventionally, they originally came from nature. These researchers, these are drug companies doing these researching to see if they can create new novel drugs. And they're discovering that they're finding compounds in the fungal kingdom that are right there doing these things. Some of the compounds are not able to be utilized per se because of their efficacy, their potency, or their toxicity may not be ideal for treatment. But with adjustments to the molecule, the molecular structures, they can modify some of these things. And that's a lot of what some of the research is about. But in this case, you've got this compound that needs no modification, that once in the body, cordycepin can become, or is a prodrug where it becomes cordycepin monophosphate, and then begins the ability to be used as AMP. You would now be calling it COMP, cordycepin monophosphate. And it'll start doing the same things that adenosine monophosphate can do. And I really didn't get into cordycepin diphosphate or cordycepin triphosphate, but those are known compounds and they have known functions as well. So I think this is more than promising. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence of folks that consume cordyceps on a regular basis and claim that it boosts their energy levels. And while that's not necessarily science, if it's working for folks, I'm not going to judge them. Go for it. I've consumed cordyceps mushroom powders and tinctures before, and while I wasn't doing any clinical trials or any kind of double-blind studies on myself or anything goofy like that, I was just consuming this stuff. And I'm already someone who consumes a lot of energy products. C4, excuse me. But I don't know if I necessarily could tell a difference because I'm already semi-active in doing these things. But that's not to say that somebody who maybe has a metabolic disorder and is not able to get up and exercise, maybe they're not able to stimulate these pathways in our cells through normal stressors such as exercise to create those low oxygen conditions, low sugar conditions in the cell. Maybe they're bedridden. Maybe we're talking about people that don't have the mobility. Well, being able to take a substance, to consume a substance that could mimic exercise, kind of. I'm not saying it's a straight equivalent, but if it could trigger pathways in your cells that exercise does, you might stave off some of these metabolic disorders from wreaking havoc on somebody who just doesn't have the ability to exercise. So these are things to consider going forward as we continue to explore the potential of cordyceps and what it can do for us as humans. Thank you, William, for writing the book on the cultivation of it. And I do want to give a shout out to some folks I met, buffed cordyceps. If you're looking for a decent cordyceps product, it's BFFD cordyceps, buffed cordyceps. They're out of Pennsylvania, and I actually got to go down there and interview the guy owning it, running the shop. He gave me a tour of the place. I'd love to upload that video, but I'm so horrible at editing that it may not be a beautiful video once I do upload it, unless I give the files to someone else to upload. We'll see how that comes out. But I definitely want to highlight the operation they have going down, Hummelstown, PA. And for the life of me, I can't think of the gentleman's names now. That's going to bug me. But two brothers running a cordyceps grow shop in central PA. I just want to shout out to them one more time. Buffed cordyceps. Go check them out. This was not sponsored by them or anything like that. And if you actually go on to their I think if you found them on Instagram, you can get more information from them, but they are well versed in the chemistry of cordyceps and the genetics of cordyceps. They breed cordyceps to get more cordycepin out of their mushrooms. So they're doing a beautiful thing out there. One more time, BFFD cordyceps, just a shout out to them. And one more time, shout out William Padilla Brown, citizen scientist, mycologist, doing his thing, sharing his love of mushrooms with the world. And I'll get to go see him and all my other mushroom cohorts up at MycoFest, October 2nd through 4th, 2024. Hey, if you enjoy this kind of mushroom chemistry content, you want to see more of this kind of stuff from me, subscribe to this channel. If you made it to this far, if you made it to the end of the video and you're still watching and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Love to have you on here. Leave any comments on the video. I get to read these comments, right? But if you are watching this video during its premiere, when I do premiere air this video, stay tuned, because I'm going live after I do these videos and I post them up to the channel. I'll be doing a little live session where we can chat, we can discuss this a little further and get a little more detailed in the direction that y'all would like to take it. So come and join me after this video and we'll go live. Hey, until next time, this was Mr. Jeff. Thanks for being on this channel, and until next time, peace.